Hi everyone, this is Homey Hobbies. I hope you've had a good past couple of weeks. We are getting into the month of April now, and I received my Illumicrate box last week just in time for this week's video. Now, this is the March Illumicrate box, which means we are finally uploading on time for the photo challenge posting dates that Illumicrate does. So I am very excited to finally participate. Now, for those of you who don't know, Illumicrate is a subscription box company specifically for books. They have 3 different genres that they work with, fantasy being this box you see right here. Then they have a romance version and a horror version as well. And I believe fantasy is the only version that also receives items that are either related to the book itself or to the genre that the book is part of. The theme for the month of March was fantasy. And here in this booklet we have, as always, our items that are featured and the theme for the next month. So let's just jump right into it. The first item here comes in this box. So it says it is a underwater haven plant pot. Now, I was really excited for this. Illumicrate has such beautiful pots. Usually the decoration on the box is a reflection of the images on the jar. And you can see here we have jellyfish, seaweed, something that looks like a mermaid or a creature, and more seaweed and creatures under the sea. Which makes sense because this is an underwater themed box. Here is our plant pot. The inside coating seems to be either a teal or pine green color. And you can see here we have more jellyfish, seaweed, and fish, and the creature we saw before. Something that even looks like a horse, maybe? Now you can see here on the edge, near the bottom of the mug, there seems to be a scratch. I'm not sure what that is, but I kind of don't like that they sent this out with that imperfection going around the entire vase. It's just a little unprofessional, although maybe they didn't receive enough good ones from the vendor, and so they had to keep this one in. Our next item comes in this little brown box. I believe we saw in the last video that the March box was going to have a book pot. So I think that's what this is supposed to be. So our next item here is in fact a book pot. The front of this book pot says Legends of Mythical Sea Creatures. I love the color. You see their little octopus arms coming up. There are some mermaids and perhaps sea dragons. Here on the side it says the Kraken, Mermaids, Leviathan. And you can see that it's a very pretty sea green. Here on the back we have a wheel. We have again our tentacles and creatures. And it says Tales from the Deepest Depths of the Ocean. Now I really love my book pots from Illumicrate. I love all of the ones I've gotten so far. I believe this is just my third one, but I think that this might be my favorite. I don't read many books with mythical sea creatures, but I do really like the color scheme. Alrighty, so our next item here seems to be some sticky notes. Now, when I first saw this, I was a little bit disappointed, but having seen that we got a plant pot and a book pot, I'm very okay with letting it slide. So here we can see that it is a see-through sticky note, and it says, "Your magic is wonderful, I'll remember you." And here on the sides we have decorations of a ship and a mermaid's tail, and it says the same thing at the top, instead with a treasure map and some seashells. And yeah, I don't know if I'll use these. My friends say that these sticky notes are very useful when annotating books, but if I'm annotating a book, I'm gonna write straight in the book. I don't particularly like using sticky notes. We'll see. I may sell this. Now, our next item here is another exciting item. I have not gotten one of these since I started getting Illumicrate boxes. This is a book cover. I don't know what they're called. We can double check that later. But basically you put a book in it. These were really popular back when I was in middle school. But here you can see that we have a picture of a sea monster with tentacles and some fish and a ship escaping the monster, and the fish are just swimming with it. And you can see there are also a mountain range. Looks like there are some stairs. I find it very cool. And here we can take a look. And it also has on the side a little strap to be able to close it. So yeah. Now I don't know if I'll keep this as well. I don't really use book covers, but who knows, we'll see. It might be a thing that I'll end up using. And last but not least, we have our book, Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. Now you can see that this artwork is absolutely beautiful, but let's take that plastic off. And here we are. So, like I said, Fathom Folk by Liza Chan. We can see that the lettering is in a gold foil. We have some seahorses. We have some women, perhaps mermaids. And it looks like a historical Chinese-inspired building. Very cool. Here is the binding. We have a stingray and again the building. And it looks like the publisher is Orbit at the bottom. And the dust jacket itself is orange. It's interesting coloring. Oh, this is gorgeous. This is giving me like old school art. You can see that we have fish and our same building. The sun is red and it looks like a tsunami and a monster. And here we have similar depiction, similar color scheme. I really love the rustic looking vibe. Overall, I think this is really good artwork from the dust cover. Now here on the inside, we have, it looks like 2 people and some mermaids. It looks like one of them has long hair and maybe human. And the other one seems to have gills. They all seem to be underwater. This kind of looks like a party. Very interesting. And here we can see a little bit of the actual artwork on the book itself. But for now, let's take a look at our synopsis. Welcome to Tiankui, shining pearl of human civilization and a safe haven for those fleeing civil unrest. Or at least, that's how it first appears. But in the semi-flooded city, humans are, quite literally, on top, peering down from shining towers and aerial walkways on the Fathom Folk. Sirens, sea witches, kelpies, and kappas who live in the polluted waters below. For half-siren Mira, promotion to captain of the border guard means an opportunity to help her downtrodden people. But if earning the trust and respect of her human colleagues wasn't hard enough, everything Mira has worked towards is put in jeopardy when Nami, a know-it-all water dragon Fathom Folk royalty, is exiled to the city. When extremists sabotage the annual boat race, violence erupts, as does the clampdown on the Fathom Folk rights. Both Nami and Mira must decide if the cost of the change is worth paying or if Tiankawi should be left to drown. This debut fantasy is inspired by East Asian mythology and ocean folk tales, is perfect for fans of Jade City, The Bone Shard Daughter, and The House of Earth and Blood. Okay, that seems pretty interesting. So it seems like we're dealing with some form of racism or discrimination, rights violations, suppression. Seems very interesting. So here on the inside of the book, you can see we have the author's signature and their stamp. And here we also have a letter from the author. The letter reads, Dear Illumicrate readers, some years ago there was an anthology called for short stories. The title, Sirens. As someone who loves a retelling, the theme appealed to me. A vision of a semi-submerged city appeared fully formed, and the character of Mira, a world-weary siren sick of people assuming she uses her song to get ahead. Even after the story was published, it would not let me go. I started to write the novel, which became Fathom Folk. A lot of details have changed over time, evolved with the story I wanted to tell, but the beating heart remains. I loved reading about monstrous ship-destroying beasts like the Kraken, Loch Ness Monster, Leviathan. However, it was the shapeshifters who interested me most. The more I read, the more frustrated I become at seeing women time and time again cast as the seductresses or the victim. It spans across cultures, across oceans and centuries. Blame the woman, it's her fault. I wanted to reclaim that, to have a world where sirens and selkies are more than just a pretty face, to change them from victims to angry agents of their own fate. Weird how you'd say victims, but then also get upset when they're seductresses and therefore in charge of their own story and leading others. But I don't know. I always found that the stories of sirens were very interesting to me. I loved how much power sirens had. That was very appealing to me. I watched authors before me push boundaries, from Fonda Lee to Tasha Suri, N.K. Jemisin to Shelley Parker Chan, building complex worlds inspired by non-Western cultures. Their ambition and success gave me the confidence to write Tiankawi, my flooded cityscape inspired by East and Southeast Asian vibes. Seeing people of different cultures and creeds rub shoulders, hearing the orchestra of languages, and my favorite part, sampling the wide range of cuisines. Amen, girl. I hope you have a sense of the messy, eidetic, and joyful feeling I wanted to portray in the characters' everyday lives. Fathom Folk is also a book about change and how to achieve it. It was important I had multiple viewpoints to show the folk are not one homogeneous group. They have their own disparate opinions, from the headstrong Nami, who has opinions on everything, to Mira, just trying to chisel away at the system with a tiny rock hammer, to the cynical Cordelia, who keeps her cards much closer to her chest. The results? Well, I'll let the book speak for itself. In quotes, it says, "Change is ugly. Anything else is simply a lie." Happy reading. Other than our differences in our views of sirens, I think this is a really good author's note. I really like the idea, and although I'm not too into politics right now in my reading, I've read quite a bit of historical fiction and have been needing to step away. Maybe I'll come back to this in the near future. So here we have our author's about page and the art on the back, which is the same as the one in the front flap. But here it says Eliza Chan is a Scottish-born Chinese diaspora author who writes about East Asian mythology, British folklore, and reclaiming the Dragon Lady, but preferably all three at once. Eliza's work has been published in The Dark, Podcastle, Fantasy Magazine, and The Best of British Fantasy, and her non-fiction has appeared on Tor.com. She lives in the north of England with her partner and young child. Fathom Folk is her first novel. But here we have all the information about the artwork. And now let's take a look at the cover itself. Oh, stunning. So as you can see here, we have a creature under the water and a sun, big old sun, our city, probably of humans, a bridge. And we have our ships at the top, sort of animal, and perhaps our kraken or sea monster tail, claw at the bottom. Here on this side, we have more of the same artwork. Oh, this is so gorgeous. So here we have our dragon. So I assume the other parts of the dragon were at the bottom on the other side of the book. But we have a school of fish. And yeah, just the illustration. I don't know if I'm ever going to put Dust Sleeve back on. I mean, it's pretty. I like the vibes. But wow, that is stunning. So overall we have our book, our book jacket, then we have our clear sticky notes, then we have our mythical sea creatures book pot that I'm really excited to use, probably for more mini brands. And lastly, we have our plants pot. Again, I don't like that they sent it out with the mark, but it is what it is. Alright, so let's take a look at the description of the items that we got. So our first item was a mythical sea creatures book pot designed by Jane Tibbetts at Chatty Nora. The book pot is inspired by all of the mythical sea creatures. Let me know what your favorite mythical sea creature is in the comments. Our next item is the Underwater Haven plant pot designed by Anna Steed at Thistle Moon, and it features a Kelpie from the Book of the Month. The next item we have here is a Kraken in the Deep book jacket designed by Homey, inspired by Adventures of a Minal Safari. And our last item was Beneath the Waves sticky notes designed by Marigana Sully and Marigana Sully Art. Sticky notes with elements inspired by In Deeper Waters, which are transparent for easy use in your book. And there's a note that says, please ensure care is taken when sticking into books and every positioning to ensure no damage is done to the paper or text. Best pen to use is ballpoint. Here on the other side, we have our synopsis once again and our photo challenge and photo challenge date. Like I said, I'll be able to participate this time since I'm opening this box on time. And lastly, let's take a look at April's theme, magic versus science. In a world where magic and science coexist side by side, what discoveries will emerge? The April book is a YA fantasy debut where a heroine who's blessed by death lives in a conquered world ruled by invaders from the heavens. When her gift is discovered by the enemy prince, he makes a bargain with her to eliminate his political rivals, and her family will never suffer again. But accepting would lead her to ruin at the hands of her power, soul of the enemy prince, and the devastation of the country she loves. This Illumicrate exclusive has all of the regular things, except illustrated end papers are different fronts and backs, sent by the author. Fandoms this month include The Bone Seasons, Song of Silver, Flame Like Night, and Surviving Sky. And there will also be a fandom neutral item. Oh, in addition, the April box is going to have a fandom neutral puzzle with artwork by Olivia Gibbs illustration. That's pretty exciting. That was our March box. I quite enjoyed it. I think it was a very good quality box compared to the other ones that we received recently. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you next time. Bye.